Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Northern Virginia Transportation Authority's FY24-29 six-year program public hearing and authority meeting. I'm Dave Snyder, Vice Chair of MBTA, of course, substitute for Chair Lois Randall, who's at other public business. Before we begin, let's call this meeting to order and conduct a roll call.
Vice Chair Snyder.
Here.
Chairman McKay.
Here.
Chair Jefferson. Here. Board Member DuPerante.
Here.
Mayor Wilson. Mayor Davis Younger. Present. Mayor Rochelle. Here. Mayor Reed. Here. Senator Boysko. Ms. Hines. Mr. Cole.
Here.
Mayor Olam. Here. Mr. Cutler.
Here.
Mr. Horsley.
Here.
You have a quorum, sir.
Thank you very much. Continuing on our public hearing. At MBTA, we understand there's no one-size-fits-all solution to tackle congestion in the region. That's why MBTA funds multimodal projects to improve transit, roadways, bicycle and pedestrian facilities, and transportation technologies. Tonight, MBTA has invited the public to provide feedback on 24 candidate projects submitted by 9 Northern Virginia jurisdictions and the Virginia Railway Express for regional funding considerations. We're grateful for the members of the public who have already submitted comments, whether online, over the phone, or through the mail. Your feedback matters a great deal to us. Every comment provided to us aids in our approach to keep Northern Virginia moving. With that, I would now like to introduce Keith Jasper, MBTA's Principal of Planning and Programming, for a brief presentation before we get started with the public hearing. Keith.
Thank you, and good evening, Vice Chair Snyder and members of the authority. The goal of my remarks this evening twofold. First, to provide an end-to-end overview of MBTA's six-year program process. That will be a refresher for many of you, but for our newer members, this might be something that you're less familiar with. My second goal is to provide a high-level summary, stress high-level summary of the 24 candidate projects, which Vice Chair Snyder has just mentioned. But before I do any of that, I just want to give you a heads up that although you cannot see anyone online here right now, trust me, they can see and they can hear you. So just be aware that there are folks online, both on Zoom and on YouTube, who can observe everything in this room, even if you cannot see them. So I'd like to start by setting the overarching context for your six-year program update. This is a graphic that you may recall having seen before. It shows MBTA's two primary responsibilities, planning and programming, and how they are related. In the middle circle, the top half of this circle, and the left-hand box shows the key steps of your long-range transportation plan transaction, and the bottom half of the circle, and the right-hand box, is the key steps for your funding program, six-year program, as we call it. We sometimes refer to this within MBTA as our circle of life, because six-year program projects can only be funded here if they are included in the transaction project list here. And further, when you adopt a six-year program, the projects that are funded, not necessarily in that program, but previous ones, are built into the next update transaction to change how we do the modeling. So it's a constant feedback loop, what we prefer calling it, the circle of life. In particular, I want to mention this white inner core, which, if you can't read it, says public engagement, which is a key step whenever we update transaction or the six-year program, as this demonstrated by this public hearing this evening and the ongoing public comment period for the six-year program update. I'd like to address the first of my two goals tonight by sharing a 3-minute video that gives you an end-to-end overview of MBTA's 6-year program process.
In Northern Virginia, the demand for transportation improvements outweigh the available financial resources. This reality propels the Northern Virginia Transportation Authority to evaluate and prioritize funding multimodal transportation projects to reduce congestion. This process is accomplished through NVTA's 6-year program. Every 2 years, the 6-year program identifies transportation projects that will be funded with NVTA regional revenue funds. The 6-year program process has 6 distinct phases. Beginning with a call for projects, counties, cities, and towns with a population of more than 3,500, transit agencies and other state and regional entities in Northern Virginia are eligible to apply. The next phase in the process determines which projects are eligible for NVTA funding. Candidate projects must be located in Northern Virginia and must be included in the current version of Transaction, NVTA's Long-Range Transportation Plan. The third phase of the process is one of the most robust. NVTA considers 3 quantitative factors for each eligible project. Let's take a closer look at how projects are evaluated. First, NVTA calculates congestion reduction relative to cost, or the CRRC rating. Each project is analyzed to quantify the amount of congestion that would be removed from the transportation system from the first year the project is complete through approximately 20 years from now. This result is then compared to the project cost to arrive at the CRRC rating. Next, we compute a transaction rating for each project. The transaction rating is a combination of 10 performance measures that rate each project on a range of potential benefits, including congestion reduction, access to jobs, safety, and reduction in vehicle emissions. The third quantitative analysis, long-term benefits, looks how closely the transportation impacts of NVTA-funded projects match the share of revenues attributed to each of NVTA's 9-member jurisdictions. This helps to ensure over the long term the benefits of funded projects are fairly distributed across the region. NVTA also considers a range of qualitative factors for each project evaluation, including alignment with NVTA's core values of equity, safety, and sustainability, progress on NVTA-funded projects, if other funding sources have already been committed to the project, and more. The fourth phase of the process is another critical component of the program. NVTA embraces and seeks participation from the community throughout a public comment period. All public comments are recorded and evaluated before a final recommendation is made. Next, in Phase 5, the results of the quantitative and qualitative evaluation, combined with feedback from the public, are used to determine project funding recommendations. NVTA staff develop the initial recommendations and present them to the statutory and standing committees. These committees, in turn, provide their feedback and recommendations collectively to NVTA members. Finally, NVTA considers the staff and committee recommendations and adopts the 6-year program, approving funding for projects across the region. This process demonstrates NVTA's dedication to reducing congestion and improving the quality of life for Northern Virginians. Please visit the novaauthority.org for more information.
Next, I would like to address the second of my 2 goals tonight, providing a high-level summary of the 24 candidate projects as a group, not individually. In so doing, I'll point out where we address some of the things just mentioned in the video. So before talking about this, I just want to point at the board over there, which is the same as this. So if there's a lot of information on here, if you want to catch up with it later, then feel free to check out that display board. On the left-hand side, 24 candidate projects, funding request of nearly $1 billion. Kind of center left, we have a map of the project locations, color-coded with this tabulation to the right of the applicants and the applications. So, for example, the Loudoun County shown with blue, 3 project applications. The blue box here summarizes the Loudoun projects, which are Route 15 at Braddock Road Roundabout, Sickle Inn Road widening, and Old Ox Road widening. I would also say that this orange project here is the VRE project, summarized at the bottom, which is located in Fairfax County. And the bottom right, you see the primary modes associated with the 24 candidate projects. So I'm not sure if you can read them here, but from roadway, interchange, intersection, community rail, bus, biped, and technology. And we took a look back at where we were 2 years ago with your previous 6-year program update. And it's quite interesting. Back then, there were 26 candidate projects instead of 24, whereas we have 3 technology projects now. We have 1 technology project then. We have 4 biped projects now, 2 in the last cycle, 5 bus projects now, 3 in the previous cycle. We have 1 commuter rail now. Previously, we had a metro rail second entrance project. 5 interchange and intersection projects now, same number as 2 years ago. And we have 6 roadway projects. 2 years ago, we had 14. So some similarities and some differences between this cycle and the previous one. This next slide, this is the 24 candidate projects by jurisdiction or agency, showing the project titles and the project IDs, which are really internal to us, but also showing the individual funding requests for each project and the modal components associated with that project, with the first one being the primary mode and the other ones being other modes associated with that project. In the case of biped, we lump those two together. So although that one's first, one's second, they're actually both the primary mode. This is a slightly different version of the same map showing the project locations overlaid onto the transportation system. And although you probably can't read it from here, that each of those location pins is coded to match the mode of the primary mode of each project. Okay, this is the fun one. Again, I'd like to point out the board behind Mayor Wilson, which it kind of goes into detail if you want to take more time looking at this. And also just behind that, there are some actual handouts of the full version of that tabulation. So essentially here, this evaluation summary, as we call it, is necessarily complex because it's very comprehensive. It captures most of the factors that we take into account as part of what I would call a holistic approach to kind of developing our initial MBTA staff recommendations. So you see some of the summaries are kind of presented in a numerical format, some are in a color-coded format. For the color-coded, the deepest shade of green is the most kind of positive way of representing the performance of the project. The evaluation summary shows the quantitative and qualitative factors and associated ratings mentioned in the video. And in particular, I would say that this list differs from the one I showed you previously, in that this list, the 24 candidate projects are ranked by their CRRC rating, congestion reduction relative to cost rating, from highest to lowest. And those numbers are in the last 2 columns on the right. Just to the left of those are the transaction ratings and rankings, which were mentioned in the video. And then the third quantitative factor that's mentioned in the video, long-term benefit, is the most right hand of the color-coded columns. And I should specifically mention that for these quantitative measures, they all have their roots in some aspect of some part of the Virginia Code. In other words, they're legislatively driven, and they have to be there for us to be compliant with the law in terms of the funding programs that you adopt. Slide. So just coming to the schedule, obviously everything that's been grayed out is in the past. We don't have too many bullets left to the finish line. Tonight, May 9th, we have the public hearing. The public comment period was opened late March and will run for another 10 days to May 19th. All of the public comments, not just the ones you'll hear tonight, but all the ones that we're receiving online already and the ones that are yet to come, these will be summarized, tabulated, and presented to you at your June meeting. And then following that, we will go to the statutory committees and the standing committee to present staff recommendations to them first before they come to you. So the TAC, the Technical Advisory Committee, and the PCSC, the Planning Coordination Advisory Committee, these will be meeting back to back in this room on June 20th, which is a Thursday, which is not their typical night, but June 19th is Juneteenth, so we won't be meeting that night. And then the PPC, the Planning Programming Committee, will be meeting shortly after that in the following week on June 25th, Tuesday, June 25th. And then the anticipated date of adoption is July, so 2 meetings from now. So I'd like to conclude by thanking the approximately 120 people who have already submitted comments online, and for the people who are presenting here tonight, either those who are here in person or online. Thank you all very much for participating in this process. If you want to make a comment, you've not yet submitted one, you have until 11:59 p.m. on Sunday, May 19th. You can take a shot at that. It will take you to our 6-year program webpage, which tells you how to submit comments, tells you about the projects, or you can go to our website under the programming tab, all the same information is there. So with that, thank you for your attention.
Excellent, Keith. So now we'll start the public hearing. We have members of the public joining us both in person and virtually via Zoom to provide testimony and see. Those who registered to provide testimony in person will speak first, followed by those who registered to provide testimony via Zoom. Each person providing testimony will have 3 minutes to speak. When you hear the timer alarm or see time run out, please wrap up your comment. For those of you who are remote, please remain on mute until it is your turn to provide testimony. For any technical support, MBTA staff is available to assist via the Zoom chat box. Once you are finished with your testimony, please log out of the Zoom meeting. You can continue to watch the meeting live stream from YouTube. With that, let's get started with our in-person participants. I'm particularly pleased to welcome Senator Danica Roem, who is here, obviously as a member of the Senate of Virginia. So, Senator Roem, thank you very much for all that you do in Richmond, and thank you for being here this evening.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. It's good to see my former colleagues here. I hope one day to rejoin you if and when the Senate decides to make that happen. I'm here for a couple of projects in particular, but the first thing to highlight really is Route 28. So if you'll look on the schedule here, the project is number, let me pull it up here. The category is CMP 001. This is submitted by the City of Manassas Park, so thank you to Mayor Rochelle for this. And this is in collaboration with Prince William County. And this is to fund $40 million for the second phase of the Route 28 STARS Innovative Intersection Design Project that I've been pushing now since I was sworn in January 10th of 2018. And with this, what's really significant with this is that once this entire project is done, we'll be able to prevent about 40 to 50 crashes per year on this 2.1 mile stretch of roadway. We're going to be able to shave off about 5 to 10 minutes of people's morning and afternoon commutes. And at the same time, as you're doing that, we're also making it multimodal by actually having a contiguous sidewalk that runs through Manassas, from Manassas Park through Yorkshire, which currently you don't have. And you'll also have a safer way for pedestrians to get across the road. Right now, the road is 5 lanes, suicide lane in the middle, 2 lanes up, 2 lanes down. And anyone who lives in the greater Manassas area has watched people run and risk their lives running across that road. And very sadly, actually at Connor Drive, which is not part of this project study area, we had a fatality there not too long ago. So that's the first thing I want to highlight. What's significant is phase one is fully funded now. We have secured $24.5 million for the Virginia Highway Safety Improvement Program to take care of that between Manassas Park and Spruce Street. This is to take care of the rest of it. And this leads me now to the next part for Route 28 here. You'll need to see the fifth ranked project that we have is in the city of Manassas. And this is for the modern roundabout at Sudley Road, Prescott, and Route 28. That one is also a safety first project. The same way that the Route 28 STARS project is for throughput, for safety. And by the way, for the chair of Fairfax County, it will also do a lot to alleviate the backups that we have backing up into Centerville right now, which I had to pass on the drive up here today. Oh yeah, that's a real thing. And what we'll get in Manassas is we'll have a reduction in crashes that actually happen at Route 28 and Sudley Road. You're going to see fewer pedestrian fatalities or pedestrian or involved accidents in the first place. And significantly, if you really look at how the design of that is, it's really being done to accommodate pedestrians, as well as having two lanes that kind of come in from Sudley and Route 28, one lane incoming from Prescott. This could do a whole lot for public safety on this major road. And this is the last section of Route 28 that needs to be taken care of. We've done it now from Fitzwater up to the city limits. We've now done it from Fairfax and to Loudoun. Let's take care of that middle. Thank you all so much.
Thank you very much. Next person who's registered for in-person testimony is Bill Pugh with the Coalition for Smarter Growth. Well,
good evening. Good evening, Vice Chair Snyder and board members. My name is Bill Pugh. I'm a senior policy fellow with the Coalition for Smarter Growth. I'm also a resident of Alexandria. The coalition has been involved in MBTA activities since the agency's creation, and we note the positive evolution of candidate projects for the 6-year program over this time. This year, over half the candidate projects now recognize that walkable, bikeable, transit-friendly communities with the supportive land use and housing policies that are needed are the best solution for the region's transportation challenges, not bigger roads. We thank MBTA member jurisdictions for this shift and for the responsiveness to public comments over the years. And CSG asks you tonight to prioritize these types of smart growth projects in your funding decisions. Decades of evidence show that more and more traffic lanes do not solve congestion and only make our traffic, climate, safety, and equity problems worse. So tonight we ask you, one, to prioritize for funding the 13 applications that directly support our region's vision for walkable, transit-friendly communities. They include projects like the Falls Church signal prioritization along a key regional bus corridor, Fairfax City's complete streets connections, the Braddock Road multimodal improvements, Prince William Mobility Hub, and others. We have a full list in our written comments that we'll provide. Number 2 is fund the 5 candidate projects that address regional mobility needs without widening roads. These use techniques like roundabouts, technology operational improvements. Route 28 was mentioned by Senator Rome. Number 3, work with Fairfax County to make design improvements to the 3 street grid projects that are oversized and that undermine the small area plans as they're currently designed. We support these projects, the 7 Corners Ring Road, Frontier Drive, Route 7 multimodal improvements, but we have concerns. I think if you look at the Sunset Hills Road in front of the Reston Metro Station, which is a speedway, you'll see what these expensive multi-lane projects can do, which is, often not what we intend for them to do, and undermine some of the walkable investments and transit-oriented development that we're all trying to do, especially at metro stations and places like 7 Corners. So we support that, but we ask NVTA and Fairfax to work together on some design improvements to those. Lastly, lowest priority, I would say, would be the widening projects, Old Ox Road, Sickland Road widenings, the big interchange like at Route 234. We think a new approach is needed together with fixing the land use policies. So again, I thank you for your time. Thank you for the new approach that we're seeing in the candidate projects overall.
Bill, thank you very much. Do we have anyone else who's registered for in-person testimony? No. Anyone else who wants to testify in person? Okay, not hearing any, we'll now move to testimony from those online. I'll ask you to please remain muted until you are called on to speak. When I call your name, please unmute yourself and provide your comments by hitting the microphone icon on your screen, or you can touch it as opposed to hit it. When you're finished speaking, please remute your microphone by clicking on the same microphone icon. If you do not place your microphone on mute, NVTA staff may do so to minimize background noise or other audio interference. About 3 minutes to speak, and a timer will be shown on the screen as you provide testimony. Now let's begin with our first remote participant, Supervisor Kenny Bodie with Prince William County Board of Supervisors.
Vice Chair Snyder, Supervisor Bodie's not present online. He might be joined later, but these are representatives.
All right, well, we'll take that testimony later then. Next person is Kevin O'Brien with the Washington Area Bicyclists Association. Kevin?
Right, can you guys hear me?
Yep, we can, thanks.
Great. I am testifying from a train. So yeah, good evening, members of the Northern Virginia Transportation Authority, and thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Kevin O'Brien, and I am testifying on behalf of the Washington Area Bicyclists Association and its more than 5,000 members across Northern Virginia and the Washington metro area to once again recommend that NVTA really prioritize bike, pedestrian, and multimodal focused projects for secure program funding. Our North Star for over 50 years has been that bicycling can and should be an equitable, safe, low-cost, time-saving, and sustainable way to navigate our communities for all. We testified here to this body back in January and commended the important role that NVTA has played in transforming the bikeability of our region, now considered among the nation's best. We noted with enthusiasm the more than $5 billion that the region has invested in transportation improvements that include funding for transit and complete streets projects. But we also noted then the continued focus on road widenings and interchange expansion.
Starting to the audio.
Make up road violence. Sorry about that. Actively moving people rather than cars, on expanding transit capacity and pedestrian spaces and bikeways rather than vehicle lane miles. And thankfully, member jurisdictions have, to a really major degree, heeded this clarion call and submitted an improved mix of projects that we are so happy to see. Projects that really lead with bike, pedestrian, and transit rather than tacking those elements onto larger road widening projects. To wit, we are excited by Alexandria's push to remedy its high crash intersections. We think Arlington's CC to DCA bike and pedestrian bridge will effectively reduce congestion into and out of the busy airport campus. Fairfax County's Braddock Road multimodal project will finally enable real transportation alternatives along this corridor. And of course, Prince William's Route 234 project will help bridge the divide that our car-centric infrastructure has wrought in our communities. These and other projects will be first in line for SYP funds. Still, a number of submitted projects reflecting a continued commitment to the status quo and in this outdated notion that more travel lanes is the only solution to vehicle congestion. We cannot continue to spend our limited transportation dollars on projects that we know won't solve our transportation problems and bring us closer to our road safety and emissions reduction goals. Instead, let's use this 6-year program to definitively, finally acknowledge that the future of transportation in our region lies in making it easier and more convenient to navigate within and between our communities on foot, by bike, and transit without adding more lanes. The economic vitality and livability of our region and the planet depends on it. Thank you so much, and we look forward to continuing to work with you all.
Thank you very much, Kevin. The next person who's registered to participate virtually is Mustafa Ayana Haas. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, please go ahead.
All right. Good evening, members of the MBTA. I just want to express my appreciation to the shift towards multimodal projects compared to the preliminary projects. Moving away from road widening in favor of solutions that benefit all users is a positive step. However, I believe there is further opportunity to improve specific projects within the proposed plans to improve the urban fabric. Several projects can be redesigned to enhance the urban fabrics. Let's explore some examples. Fairfax 135, 136, instead of widening roads, focus on retrofitting existing infrastructure, implement a road diet, protected bicycle lanes, and improve traffic signals. Also, 138, you can ditch the ring road concept in 7 corners, and instead implement a road diet for Route 50, put it at grade, and include transit lanes and protected bike lanes, and connecting all roads, maybe with a roundabout, for even better traffic flow and transit flow. Also, similar improvements can be made for Loudon projects 29, 33, and 34, as mentioned with the previous testimonies. Prioritize also road diets, bike lanes, transit lanes, and pedestrian infrastructure instead of road widening. And in Prince William County, 040, no grade separation, as it destroys the urban fabric. Implement road diets and also protected bicycle lanes and pedestrian infrastructure. For 43, I approve the transit center, but I encourage more transit-oriented development, and instead of wide parking lots, just increase local bus service so people can get to the station easier. And also for 43, 44, same thing. Also prioritize transit-oriented development and implementation of local buses. For Alexandria 29, I guess implementing road diet and lowering speed limit and improving safety at high crash intersections would be a better choice. Also for 32, consider adding protected bicycle lanes and transit lanes and road diet as well as the bridge. And also for CFX 018 and 019, provide road diets and protected bicycle lanes and improve sidewalks and lights, because this area is very dark usually in Bellenheim Boulevard and Northfax Network. And lastly, in Manassas 003 and CMP 01, implement road diets and also the same thing for Route 28 and Sudley Road, and improve pedestrian and site. And thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Do we have anyone else who's registered to speak virtually? Do we have anyone who wants to speak virtually? How about in person?
Supervisor Bodie has joined us.
Pardon?
Supervisor Bodie has joined us.
Okay, great. Supervisor Brody, welcome.
Thank you and good evening, MBTA. Thank you for giving me the chance and opportunity to speak tonight. Again, Supervisor Kenny Bodie, I represent the Occoquan District on the Prince William County Board of Supervisors. First, want to say thank you as always for all the work that you all have been doing to help promote transit and keep our communities moving forward. I'm speaking tonight mostly to advocate for the Landing at Prince William Transit Center. That is one of the projects that is being submitted for as part of the program. The Landing at Prince William is an important small area plan in the Prince William County Comprehensive Plan. It's an area that's ripe for development and redevelopment. It's just up on 95, and the sort of the cornerstone in the heart of this area is the 95 hot lanes and the Horner Road commuter lot, which is one of the largest commuter lots that we have in the county, and in fact, the region. So we're really looking to move the ball forward in a bunch of different venues when it comes to transit. You know, we're looking at expanding our bus system, making more multimodal options for our residents, especially utilizing the fact that the hot lanes are continuing to be extended farther down towards Richmond, and knowing that there's some improvements to the hot lanes going northbound as well. A transit center would be a really good thing to be put here, mostly because we have a lot of commuters that use this area. We have a lot of folks that commute in from all over the county, especially the eastern end, to go to this commuter lot to use our transit system. And frankly, as we look at multimodal options ahead, this area is ripe to have a multimodal solution for our residents. So again, here mostly to speak on behalf of the transit center project that we're looking to hopefully get awarded money for in this round, but also just broadly wanted to make sure that as we continue to have these conversations around transit, we're really looking at the multimodal studies that have already been done by your organization as well as DRPT and others, knowing that as we continue to build out our communities here in Northern Virginia, we need to have, express buses, bus rapid transit, which I definitely support, more express rail options, and continue to move the ball forward in all those different regards. We have a lot of ambitious goals here as a region, whether there be greenhouse gas emission reductions, we have, decreasing congestion and really improving the quality of the lives of our shared constituents. So I really hope that you all continue to look at prioritizing projects like the transit center and like BRT, which expands capacity and make it so folks have a lot more options when it comes to going to where they need to go. Doctor's appointments, work, what have you, as opposed to having to jump in their cars and thus creating more greenhouse gas emissions. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a great night.
Thank you very much, Supervisor. Thank you for all you do for the public. Is there anyone else who wishes to address us either virtually or in person? Hearing or seeing anyone, this concludes the testimony for tonight's public hearing. On behalf of all of us here at the Northern Virginia Transportation Authority, our sincerest thank you to everyone who provided comment, whether live tonight or submitted in advance. Your input is important to us and an important part of the 6-year program update process. We will review all comments provided and will make a summary available for public record after the public comment period concludes. If you did not provide comments this evening or prior to the public hearing, we encourage you, and even if you did, we encourage you to, through May 19th, provide those comments. You can do so by selecting to submit comments electronically via our Google form, by phone, or by mail. With that, we conclude the evening's 6-year program update public hearing. We can now move into the regular authority meeting. And once again, thank you to everyone. All right, moving on right along, I call to order the May 9 meeting of the Northern Virginia Transportation Authority. Do you want to do another roll call here just to make sure we have it?
Sure. Vice Chair Snyder?
Yeah.
Chairman McKay?
Here.
Chair Jefferson? Here. Board Member DeFerrante?
Here.
Mayor Wilson?
Here.
Mayor Davis Younger? Mayor Rochelle? Here. Mayor Reed? Here. Mr. Cole?
Here.
Mayor Olam? Here. Mr. Cutler?
Here.
Mr. Horsley?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thanks very much. So we'll move immediately then into action items. Entertain a motion to approve the April 11, 2024 meeting summary minutes.
So,
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? Moving right along, agenda item number 4, approval of letter of endorsement for Arlington County's Active Transportation Infrastructure Investment Program, ATIIP grant application. I entertain a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the authority to approve the letter of the County's Active Transportation Infrastructure Investment Program, ATIIP grant application.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Thanks,
No, great. Thanks. Is there any discussion, any questions about this item at all?
Just thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a key intersection, and the letter is similar in 4 and 5, but they're both key safety places that we all know well in the county, and perhaps those not in the county.
Great. Thanks a lot for that. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by indicating aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, next item on the agenda is approval of letter of endorsement for Arlington County Safe Streets and Roads for All, SS4A program grant application. Entertain a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the authority approve the letter of endorsement for Arlington County Safe Streets and Roads for All SS4A program.
Is there a second?
Second. Bail me out.
Is there any discussion? Any comments, any questions? Okay, not hearing none. Then all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda item number 6, approval of letter of endorsement for Prince William County's nationally significant multimodal freight and highway projects grants program, INFRA application. Take a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the authority. I move authority approval of the letter of endorsement for Prince William County nationally significant multimodal freight and highway projects grants program application.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any question, any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Abstentions? All right, passes unanimously. Thank you very much. So we move now to discussion and information items. Governance and Personnel Committee report. The update on the 2024 General Assembly session.
Don't tell you. I'm so excited. We actually have good news. I think we've all seen the tweets and alerts from the newspaper, but we have a budget. We will see details apparently Saturday morning. And due to the very hard work of many people in this room, but particularly Kate Mattice and MVTC and the information that they've put out, working very closely with 2 specific budget conferees from Northern Virginia, Delegate Mark Sickles, Senator Jennifer Boysko, of course, there's on MBTA. We've worked with getting the state assistance we wanted for the stopgap money, which was really, really very, very important for all of us. And so we don't know what else it says on Metro, but we do know, we do know the money is there, which is really the most important thing. Just a lot of work and stick to it this and some very nice budget revenue projections. So that's there. And I think we should declare victory and now can really focus on the hard work, which is the long-term regional transit discussion that we're all part of. But I think it's going to be really, really important. I think going back to the General Assembly, and again, assuming it's just for 2 years, I think it is, going back to the state and having a coordinated, agreed to version of what transit in Northern Virginia should be and how it should be funded and the role the state should play in that and how important that is to the state's economy is really what our next 2 years is going to have to be focused on. It's not going to be pretty, it's not going to be fun, but it's something we need to do. And I have great faith that people in this room and people who are not in this room can get that done. So, Mr. Chair, that's all I have to talk about today.
Well, thank you for your extraordinary work and all of the representatives that we have in Richmond, but most importantly, our legislative delegation.
Yeah.
They really
Rock
serve
stars.
the public in Northern Virginia extremely well. So thank you to all of that. Questions for Ms. Boehner? Okay, not seeing any. Thanks for that great report.
I like to deliver good news.
Yes.
Okay.
Wonderful. Thanks so much. Next item on the agenda is Planning and Programming Committee report. Mayor Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You have your report covering our April 8th meeting in your docket. We also met again on Monday. We're hard working group. So if there are any questions, otherwise, I think the memo does an excellent job.
Thanks so much for your work. Any questions at all? All right, next item on the agenda, Chief Executive Officer's report. Ms. Bachman.
Okay, good evening, everyone, and thank you, Mr. Chair. I will be brief and thank you for entertaining me virtually. I will note that I know tonight's meeting, the agenda was relatively light, and we try to make sure we do that when you have a public hearing on your agenda, but not so much for next month. So I'm giving you advance notice that we do have some significant items to bring to you next month. One, I will note the preliminary deployment plan for the bus rapid transit study or system. The authority, you will be presented some key findings of the focus groups and other elements of the PDP BRT in 2 parts at your June and then following in your July meeting. Additionally, on May 20th, the PDP BRT team will be launching an online survey that will explore topics raised in the focus groups that were held earlier in the year. And this online survey will have a broader range of Northern Virginia, and the survey will run until June the 14th, and the findings will be presented to you at your July meeting. I would like to note that VDOT was recently awarded a $5.4 million grant under the Protect program for a pilot program for technology initiative in the Tidewater and Chesapeake region. MBTA, you did provide a letter of endorsement for this grant program, supporting the initiative because it's potentially future implementation in our region. So we were happy to support that. As you all are aware, Bike to Work Day is coming up. Bike to Work Day is actually next Friday, May the 17th. And MBTA, we will have a pit stop at Roslyn in Arlington. And as we have this pit stop, we will also take the opportunity to ask people who stop at our pit stop, do they have any comments on the draft 6-year program? Lastly, I do want to highlight that Jennifer DeBrule, who is the director of the Department of Rail and Public Transportation, as we all know, she is retiring. She is not with us this evening, but we do have something to really thank her for her leadership and her stewardship for the region for a very long time, many years. So with that, Mr. Chair, I do want to conclude my CEO report.
Thank you very much, Monica. Does anybody have any questions for Monica? Okay, not seeing any. So, chair's comments. Now it's, we didn't tell you we were going to be handing out a quiz on Keith Jasper's presentation at the beginning of the session. So we'll do that. No, I want to thank staff, especially for an extraordinary amount of work all the time, but especially a long-term planning process. I'd also note that the process for Ms. Packman's annual review is starting shortly. This month, authority members will receive a self-assessment on the goals set out last year. We'll have an opportunity to submit comments and ideas for future goals. One final comment, tonight's a great example of the rare opportunity we have as democratically elected officials to interact with our public in a safe and honest and transparent way. If you think about human history, probably we're part of a nanosecond when that's actually occurred. We see so many people subject to war, terrorism, famine, and natural catastrophes around the world. We really are the lucky ones. We all worked hard to get here and to represent the public. So I want to thank each and every member of the authority, each and every member of our staffs who with us work to serve the public, and each and every member of the greatest public in the world that we serve. So thanks for that. Does anyone have any items that they'd like to discuss? Any other business?
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Thank you. I just want to mention that on May 22nd, we're going to have a ribbon cutting event for the Route 7 widening project, the completion. That project, which was only possible through the funding of the NVTA, along with Fairfax County government, state monies as well, but a great combination This is 7 miles of roadway between Reston and Tyson's, 14 miles of multi-purpose trail as well. And so everyone is invited on May 11th, or May 22nd, 11 a.m. Near Plain Bible Church. You can park at the church garage and we'll be a little bit east of that location. But everyone is welcome. And again, thank you to everyone for your support, for NVTA's support, Fairfax County's support of this important VDOT project.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I appreciate Bill mentioning that. I want to thank VDOT too, because for folks who understand this corridor, we know how complex it is. It's not an easy project to accomplish. I mean, you are talking about the two economic engines of the DMV on both sides, Reston and Tyson's, I'm just saying. A lot of traffic, a lot of. Rely on me to point out the obvious. Always. I mean, it just seemed too common here. I didn't want Snyder to finish in record time. To appoint him as chair. But in all seriousness, this is a really tough corridor. And the project, driving through there all the time, it's exceptional. The multimodal components, I mean, you never saw pedestrians in this section of Route 7. Now you see them right there again. So it was a huge upgrade and just the actual logistics, the contractors, VDOT, the way they managed the project was exceptional. So it was a big win for all of us. So thank you.
Thank you. Great. Thank you, folks. Anybody have anything else they'd like to add?
I would like to compliment your
Thank you, Chair Jefferson.
You must be new already.
She is not this one.
Yeah. Give him a couple of
No, I think we're entertaining a motion.
You too, Chair.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Hey, thank you all.